frustration and embarrassment. Respectful. You've been condescending and self-righteous from the moment you sat down. You're too pure for politics. Have to live in the real world. Washington's composure finally showed a crack, his voice rising with controlled anger. The real world is where I grew up poor in Mount Vernon. The real world is one's word is his bond. The real world is where people treat each other with dignity, even when they disagree. Rising with control. This isn't the real world, Steve. Is where I grew up poor in alternate reality we've created where ambushing guests passes for courage. The audience was completely silent now. Some was visibly uncomfortable. Others were treat each other. Fascination. They were witnessing something unprecedented, a complete breakdown of the unspoken contracts that govern television. Colbert, sensing he was losing the room entirely, made one last desperate play. Fine, leave! But don't expect to come crawling back when you need publicity for your next movie! And don't think this makes you some kind of hero for walking away from hard questions. Walking toward the exit and turned around slowly. The look on his face was one of genuine sadness mixed with steely resolve. Hero, Stephen? I'm not trying to be a hero. I'm just trying to be a man. Something you might want to consider trying sometime. The insult landed with surgical precision. Colbert's face went through a series of expressions: shock, rage, humiliation, before settling on something ugly and desperate. Get out! Just get out of my studio! Security! But Washington was already walking, his dignity intact, despite the chaos erupting around him. As he reached the edge of the stage, he paused and turned back one final time, addressing the audience directly. Ladies and gentlemen, I was not what I came here for tonight. I came to share something I'm proud of with people who might enjoy it. Instead, you got to see what happens when television forgets its basic responsibility to treat people with respect. Colbert was now standing behind his desk, his face flushed and his hands shaking. Don't you dare lecture my audience. They came here for honest conversation, not your sanctimonious. They came here to be entertained. Woof, his voice carrying clearly through the studio, and instead they got to watch you tear down a guest for sport. I hope it was worth it. With that, he walked off the stage, leaving behind a studio in complete chaos. The audience didn't know whether to applaud or sit in stunned silence. Most chose the latter. Colbert stood alone on his stage, the full weight of what had just happened beginning to sink in. His producers were frantically signaling from the control booth, but he seemed frozen, unable to process his show. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, he addressed the audience with a voice that lacked all of its usual confidence. When we come back, we'll have our musical guest. But the damage was done. The studio audience, many of whom had paid good money and waited months for tickets, began filing out during the commercial break, entertainment, and left feeling like they had witnessed something comfortable. Stage team was waiting for him with coats and phones, already buzzing with calls from reporters and publicists. His longtime agent approached with concern etched on her face. Denzel, I'm so sorry about that. We had no idea he was planning to. It's not your fault, Washington said simply, with the same tone throughout the ordeal. Some people show you who they really are when the cameras are rolling. Tonight, we all learned something about Stephen Colbert. Meanwhile, on the set, Colbert was having a complete meltdown during the commercial break. How did this happen? He demanded of his producers. How did we let him turn around on me? He's the one to answer simple questions. Stephen, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I've never seen anything like that. The executive producer, a seasoned television veteran, shook his head grimly. You completely lost control of the interview. I lost control. He's the one who stormed off. After you called him a coward and questioned his faith for 15 straight minutes. The producer replied bluntly, "This is going to be a nightmare to clean up." When the show returned from commercial, Colbert attempted to salvage what remained of the broadcast, but his usual charm and wit had abandoned him entirely. Flat, his interaction with them was awkward and stilted, and the energy in the studio never recovered. By the time the show ended, clips of the confrontation